Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Coach Pupil League. I am Schamtoo. We're going to be casting some of the games for the preseason tournament today. This is going to be the second round of the preseason tournament, the second week. The first games we're going to be covering today are starting off in the second tier of games that were kind of handed off to me to go cast. And so we're going to be using these from replays. These are not live. They are completely 100% from replays. Because people don't really, there's no set time to actually sit down and kind of play these games. So these are mostly just going to be games where people are playing whenever they are free during the week. I'm actually supposed to be playing my games sometime this week. But I have not had a chance to play against my opponent, Jake Liskin, I believe his name is. But anyway, we do have two Tier 2 players. It's difficult to say. So over here in the top right-hand corner, from Team VT, it is Max, or Purple Zerg. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner, from Team iRk, it is AgGe, or Orange Protoss. Now again, this is the preseason tournament. So winning here just pretty much puts you into a slightly better situation getting into the actual kind of full season of CPL. I believe you can get bumped up or bumped down depending on how you do in the preseason. I guess if you just lose all your games, I don't know, you just get knocked out. You're just like, you are so bad for the Coach Pupil League. Nope, we can't even handle this, how bad you are. No, I'm kidding. There's a Tier 3. Tier 3 is like the very entry level of all of the players. So Tier 2 is kind of in the middle. I'm actually a Tier 2 player myself. Because I've had a rough bout on ladder. It's based on MMR. And our players here are both in Tier 2. AgGe actually runs Team iRk. iRk is kind of one of the more prominent teams in the foreign scene right now. I believe DeWalt is on iRk. So probably the best foreign Protoss right now is on Team iRk. And so AgGe should have actually some pretty good, hopefully, coaching coming from DeWalt if they actually do hang out and talk a lot. We do have a Forge Fast command coming down here, and I'm just going to have to keep the W button open, aren't we? We're going to have that awkward little box over here because the replay just looks like this. This is just what replays look like, apparently. And we get the first probe into the main base of Max. Max went for that nice little overpull into the 12 hatch behind that. So Max hasn't really been doing anything too crazy. Did pop out 2 more Zergling. Now Max, I'm not really familiar with who this player is, but and I actually really would like to go check out. That drone is trying to take down the photon cannon a little bit. A little bit of a stalwart drone there. It won't be able to do that much damage though. The Zergling will get there just a little bit too late to actually do that much. So anyway, Max is also a Tier 2 player. I don't know how they did in the first week, so I'm kind of curious. And I think AgGe smells a little bit of blood. Is going for a lot of Zergling to kind of come out from this overpull. The gateway did go down. The second photon cannon is on the way. AgGe is playing this very safely. I think you actually can get away most times with only just one photon cannon. But going for the double cannon is totally fine. And so we have the gateway coming up, so we have the double probe wall. So we have a really nice wall here. It's going to be this is actually a leaky hole right here, I think, right there. Those Zergling can poke in there. But not too worried. AgGe is just kind of going on with pretty much everything else that AgGe needs to be doing. I believe the other pylon should be going down. Oh no, there is already the other pylon going down. Excellent, and everything seems to be kind of going okay. Actually, I think this is a little early for that pylon. And coming up behind this should be the gas and Saboteur. So everything's looking okay on this side. We do have the gas coming down here and a third hatchery going down here at the 3 o'clock position. So looks like Max is pretty much, both these players are doing pretty well. This is Tier 2, so we're, I think, between the levels of 1400 MMR and 1620. So pretty much D to the beginning stage of B. So D and C, I believe, are pretty much what Tier 2 is, if I remember correctly. We do have Python in chat, one of the leaders of CPL. Python and Laser Sniper are the 2 guys who are running all of CPL. So checking out the matches. We do have a quick layer coming down here as well for Max. And we'll see how this game's going on. Now, this is the really scary part here for AgGe. To really kind of drive home how scary it is to play Protoss versus Zerg. Look at how much AgGe has in terms of information about the other side of the map. Absolutely not. The probe was caught. The probe's gone. And unless you send another probe, you have no idea what's going on there. And Max is doing a nice little job here of having all these Zergling over here waiting to catch any type of probes that might come out. So AgGe is in a scary situation, which is pretty much like every single time you play as Protoss against a Zerg, you pretty much are guaranteed to be in this situation. So AgGe has to make a whole bunch of guesses based on the limited amount of information that exists here. Now, if AgGe did actually know what was going on, would probably feel a lot safer, would not need to be thinking about, oh, what if I need to throw down a bunch of photon cannons at any moment. So we do have a little bit of a float there in terms of minerals. We are seeing a Stargate come down here because Max went for a lair, and you're not going to really be seeing like Hydra Den, a whole bunch of big all-ins coming in out of this. We actually still have 5 hatcheries coming up here, so looks like Max is just playing very slow, very methodical, very safe. Getting a lot of drones out here. We are really pumping out on the drones. We have 35, and most of that's drones. A couple of that is in the Zergling over here. Zergling will find those couple of Zealots coming out here, and this is now up to Max to actually get a good amount of defense up. But here's actually the thing: Max is supply blocked right now. Could possibly maybe make like 4 more sets of Zerglings, but this is a little bit of a dicey spot here. But Max is responding pretty quickly, putting down a whole bunch of creep colonies and kind of just getting him into good sim cities blocked behind other buildings. We have Hydrogen coming down here. We have the Evo and Hatchery blocking this other sun colony over here. So pretty much prepared by the time that AgGe gets these developed off the map. And AgGe is going to be able to get over here and kind of see that there's other hatcheries, there's a Hydra Den, pretty much everything else, and looks like those Zealots might just back up and try and find out where that third base is, but not do much else. So the first Corsair is out, and you can see that AgGe feels a little bit safer now. Doesn't immediately send that Corsair across the map. Is just going to use that to take down the Overlord and not worry about too much else. Now, 4 Zealots are going to do okay against a single sun colony, but those were hurt before, and the more Zerglings coming in here are not going to be able to actually take out that sun colony. And so that's just going to get kind of cleaned up. Not really getting that much value out of those Zealots, so I'm a little bit upset about that. I would like to see Zealots that kind of know that they're kind of up against the odds and just kind of back up and are going to be part of a later push for like a stronger later push. But that's okay. At this point, AgGe's getting a bunch of gateways up. We do have the Forge getting +1 already on the way. The Corsair's getting over here, going to see exactly what's going on. Now, there's no Spire. And without a Spire, you are not going to be able to take down this Corsair, so you are giving the Protoss the ability to pretty much scout everything for free. And not only that, but there's no Hydras out here either, so actually Max is going to be losing quite a bit of these Overlords. Now, Max did know about the Corsairs coming out before, because the Corsair took out the Overlord at the main base. And now is the interesting time where things kind of flip on their head, right? Before, AgGe was scared because, or you know, like most Protosses are scared in this game, in this matchup, because they don't have that much scouting information on what the Zerg is up to, and so they now are kind of like, oh god, what do I even plan for? This is the reciprocal thing, because now the Overlord's pushed out of AgGe's main base. AgGe now has this Corsair going around, kind of scouting out everything that's going on, sees all the bases going down, and sees pretty much everything that's the Zerg is kind of doing. That one Hydralisk is attacking an egg. That's rather exciting, if I may say so myself. Oh no, is it going to keep attacking the Hydra? Oh my god, it keeps attacking the Hydra! Huh. Fun fact, they're considered the same unit. Oh no, friendly fire. Oh god, that's great. That's awesome. So now, Max has to know exactly what AgGe is up to. Gonna poke it with these Zerglings, try and get an idea if there's gonna be a ton of Zealots about to kind of walk across the map. There's a good amount of Zealots coming out here. We have a Dark Templar over here, a couple more gateways going down. But this is actually starting to get a little bit around the time where AgGe wants to start taking that third base, and Max is having a whole bunch of Hydras that are starting to come over here and starting to get into a situation where they might be able to put some pressure onto this Protoss. Now, there is a fleet of Corsairs moving out across the map. They do have +1 air weapons on this as well, so they can actually take out a lot of these Overlords pretty quickly. And here's the thing that I'm actually a little bit afraid of, is that if these Overlords don't have speed, and this attack happens, which it is, guess what? There's a Dark Templar here. These Dark Templar could clean up absolutely everything. So AgGe is in a pretty good situation to actually clean up this push without too much of a problem. And these Corsairs are just continuously moving around the map, in and out of Max's base, and cleaning up a lot of those overlords. So this is one of the really big factors about when you're pushing as a Zerg with Hydras, especially when you start pushing really late. You're not going for that 3-hatch Hydra push, which kind of hits right before, as the Templar Archives is coming up. Once the Protoss is kind of like aware that there's a Hydra push coming, you generally need to keep an Overlord with your army, because as soon as that Templar Archive comes up and the Dark Templar are available, guess what? Look at this. AgGe used the fact that the Corsairs scouted in here, were able to kind of look around and look to see if there's any Overlords. Guess what? There's no Overlords. The Dark Templar are getting 3 kills. And the other creep colonies are getting turned into sunken colonies, not spore colonies, which are detectors. The Corsairs are cleaning up the Overlords that are coming over to detect this whole entire base. Oh my god. This is a nice play here by AgGe. Where's the other Dark Templar? He's kind of running around taking out a whole bunch of Hydras, weirdly enough. So, I mean, there's not really that many drones left. There's 4. Okay, so a couple of Overlords do pop up. Finally, the Hydras will clean this up. That's a lot of Hydras over there, by the way. But that gets ended. The third base takes a lot of damage. Overall, though, it looks like AgGe's macro didn't really clean up perfectly during that time. There's a lot of micro that was being spent handling that. And because of that, we can actually see, we have a good amount of gateways at this point, but there's still no third base. So we are a little bit struggling to get into, like, good Protoss macro at this point for AgGe. And I feel like if AgGe was able to do that and macro at the same time, AgGe would have this game in the bag. That would be like tier 1 level plays right there. But overall, I think that was a pretty good trap set up by AgGe. Max is now in a little bit of an awkward situation. Does have a lot of Hydras though. And those Hydras are still really scary, but that's so many Zealots. That's so many Zealots. And they still don't have +2, because +2 is on the way. Actually, just finishing up right now. And so now we have a whole bunch of really scary Zealots. The difficulty here is actually getting those Zealots into a really good situation to kind of catch the Hydras in a concave, really get the surrounding area around them, because Hydras, if they just kind of like nestle up in one of these sim cities, those Zealots just start kind of tripping over themselves. But these Zealots are just having absolutely no problem. We're just going to walk right on into the natural over here, and this is gonna be able to pretty much just waltz into the main base and cause a lot of damage. We have a bunch of those Hydras coming back here, but storms are available for these High Templar. They're cleaning up so many of those Hydras as they walk into and off of the bridges, which are giant choke points here. And that is just a really scary and terrible thing to have to deal with. Circuit Breaker, the land of bridges, Murder Bridge is where you're going to lose most of your forces on this map. Now, granted, a lot of those Zealots did get cleaned up, and there's just a bunch of Zealots now in the main base. They're going to be able to take out a couple of these key tech structures. But overall, I actually expected that push to do a lot more damage. However, we look at, actually, so Max did a really good job here of just keeping those drones moving. Zealots actually have a lot of time, a lot of problems dealing with drones, and the drones are constantly moving back and forth between bases, because both drones are really fast, as well as if you have like at least 2 bases to keep moving those drones back and forth, sure, you're going to lose a lot of mining time, but the Zealots trying to get back and forth, as well as dealing with drone drilling, etc., it's actually going to cost a lot of time for the Zealots to do as much damage as they possibly could. So we do have a bunch of Hydras now moving over here. They are going to find a couple of Dark Templar, but no Overlords are immediately in range, and I think Max should be able to get pretty good engagement on these photon cannons. Those photon cannons have to shoot uphill, so they're going to have a really tough time. That High Templar does not have a storm available. That would be so key right here. Unfortunately, it is just going to kind of awkwardly be there, but Max did not actually have the ability to kind of snipe those storms. There's a couple more storms available. Now looking to go snipe some of those Templar. That one has 2 storms available. It will get a storm down. But a little bit of over micro with these Hydras is just going to cause them to run around and just take a billion damage from the Dragoons. So Max is now starting to fall to about 50 supplies, so we're in a really rough spot here. AgGe still pretty good, 108 supply. We do have the Robo facility over here. No observatory just yet, but we are not seeing any lurkers either. The 4th base is up for Max down here in the bottom right-hand corner. But it looks like this is going to be another really, really big push coming in for Max. And lurkers are now finally starting to come in here, but they are getting stormed. The eggs, are they going to die before they hatch? Oh my god, every Zerg in chat is probably crying. And there's the GG. It looks like AgGe is going to take game number 1 here at the 15-minute and 45-second mark. Alright, let's get on into game number 2. That's the wrong button. There we go. Head back over to my beautiful face. Let's give you our first point over there for iRk-AgGe. We'll get on into AgGe versus Max. Game number 2 on Silverfade. Which is great, because I'm supposed to play on this map. Never played on this map before. That's going to be awkward. But let's get on into game number 2. As I look for the button to get rid of the replay timer. It's control something. Control F? Control Y. Control Y, that's it. Control F is the production tab. We're not going to use no stinking production tab either. Alright, so spawning up here at the 12 o'clock position is our blue Protoss player. It is iRk-AgGe, currently up a game over their opponent down here at the 5 o'clock position. It is VT Max. It's not really yellow Zerg. I guess that is yellow Zerg. It's kind of like a weird, like, goldish color. Maybe not gold. Bronze? No, bronze is deeper orange. We'll come back to that one. We go with, like, lemonade. It's a lemonade color Zerg right there. So anyway, so AgGe is up a game. AgGe is feeling pretty confident, but it is still PvZ. PvZ is a really, really scary matchup for the Protoss for the beginning stages of the game. We've been seeing a lot in the KSL, and the ASL, of Zergs playing just hyper-aggressive builds. They kind of like feign back and forth between either going for, 3-hatch Hydra all in, or maybe they just pop out a couple of Hydras and make the Protoss overexert themselves trying to prepare for everything. And that creates a really difficult situation for Protosses. And when you're up a game, you're feeling pretty confident. You don't really have to worry too much. But at the same time, you now know that you're kind of your opponent. This is the best of 3. Your opponent is up against the rungs. They're going to probably do something weird. Oh, this map's in the ASL. I have been watching this one. I know this map. Never mind. So we do have a hatchery coming down here. No, actually it's going to be a 12 hatch. Ooh. 12 hatch. We're playing that macro game, boy. And we don't have a gateway opening, so that's actually pretty good here for the Zerg. Actually, just kind of win off on this one. Right? Just kind of a free win. And AgGe's going to see this, and I really hope that AgGe, as soon as he sees this, does not pop down any photon Oh, ho, 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 ho! Gonna pop down photon cannons, but where are those photon cannons gonna get popped down? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna tell you where they are. They're gonna be potentially the natural, but it does get scouted. VT Max is wise to the trickery of AgGe over here. AgGe will throw down the Nexus immediately upon that photon cannon getting put down. But here's actually a problem: is AgGe loses the probe again, and that's not great. You don't want to lose your probe this early. And so far, Max is getting an extractor and spawning pool pretty quick too. So, what? And this also gets scouted. What? What is this life? I mean, this is actually 25%. It's gonna be what? 75 minerals lost, but keep these probes occupied for a good amount of time. That might actually be worth it. couple more Zergling coming out here. There's a Photon Cannon that's going to finish up. The Gateway has finished as well. Somebody do the math of how long you need to keep 4 probes occupied on a hatchery before it's best for the Zerg. Because I bet there's a calculation somewhere around there. Natural Nexus does finish up. The Assimilator finishes up as well. We do have a couple of Zergling popping out here, and it looks like we're going to be going for the mineral-only forward base for Max here. So I'm expecting to see a little bit more of a hyper-aggressive Zerg out of this, especially because Max is already starting off with this weird stuff over here. Drone does cancel the building of the hatchery. A photon cannon was going down as well, so this actually caused a lot of economic hardship for AgGe, especially because that gateway came down so late. That did allow for kind of teaching Max to get, I think, a little bit of a mineral economic advantage out of it. Now, granted, 300 minerals is really, really costly for the Zerg, so I don't know, you have to do like time value of money and economics and all this other stuff, and oh no, everything was going okay. Oh! The drone took 1 hit! And the photon cannon didn't kill the Overlord! Oh my goodness gracious! 5 health that Overlord gets away with. No, don't you dare walk back into that. Oh my. Oh my. Alright, so we do have a Hydrogen that did come down. The 3rd hatchery is coming down as well. But here's the thing. When you hit 26, 27 supply as Zerg, this is when your first upgrades are supposed to be finishing. And this is when you're supposed to be pumping out nothing but Hydras. Max has spent so much time doing other things, other weird things, that this is kind of delayed this push by quite a bit. But here's the good thing for Max. Okay, so the Hydras are starting to come out here, actually. I take that back. This is actually not bad yet. But here's the thing. So Max is doing actually... This is delayed, but AgGe has no scouting. And AgGe didn't have any scouting because that probe at the very beginning did some cheekiness and then immediately got taken down by the drones in Max's base. So really, really good on Max. And that Stargate is hyper late, because of all the things that Max was doing in the early game. So Max has actually, I think, played this pretty well. Granted, these Hydras are a little bit later than normal, but that's just because the early game was really, really weird. Right? AgGe was going for some photon cannon cheese. Max did that weird in-base hatchery. And overall, this kind of delayed both sides a pretty good portion, but it looks like Max was able to kind of stabilize and get into what Max's goal was a lot quicker. And Max is coming in with these Hydras, trying to go for sniping on those photon cannons. Gonna be able to take down one, gonna be able to take down the second one. I think Max is gonna be able to take this game. Now the Zealots are trying to get on top of Max's Hydras, and AgGe needs to stall. 1 photon cannon going down here, but the Zealots are taking too much damage, and Max is already in pumping Hydras mode. Speed has finished. I don't think range is finished though. And I think at this point, Max has broken it. The pylon is about to go down. There's no other pylons down here. There's a Corsair taking out an Overlord, and that's going to supply block Max, but I mean, Max is already in AgGe's base. That is going to be probably game number 2 going down pretty quickly, and what a crazy, crazy game number 2. And can I just say, like, this is one of my favorite things about casting StarCraft, is that this game is tier 2, right? Like this isn't the toppest of top tier, right? Like this is tier 2, and it's still really exciting. I love the fact that, like, no matter what, StarCraft games are still really exciting. Like, no matter, like, you could just have like two mediocre players playing, you know, pretty well. I mean, it's CPL. It's always fun. Exactly. Python's exactly say. It's always fun. Love Brood War. Brood War's the best. All right, let's get on to game number 3 here between these two. I'm actually pretty excited we got the game number 3 out of this. God, best of 3s goes so quick when you don't have to worry about players, like, getting ready and everything. You just get replay to replay. Let's talk about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on into game number 3. It is 1-1 between the two of them. iRk-AgGe is the one down here in the bottom right-hand corner. I was like staring. I can read names. iRk-AgGe, our red Protoss player, down here in the bottom right-hand corner, and in the top left-hand corner, it is Max, and the map is Autobahn. Now, this is the best of 3, so this is it. We are now the last game between these two for the second week of the preseason tournament. What are the stakes? No one knows. I'm sure someone knows, and I'm probably supposed to know, but it seems like these players are kind of going all out. But also kind of having fun, too. And that's the point of CPL. We have fun. Nice little friendly banter going back and forth. DT's game number 1, brutal. Game number 2, the Hydra bust was just too much for AgGe to deal with, so now AgGe has to figure out what's going on. Game number 3, this is where things get a little bit more hazy for Zerg. You know, I was talking about game number 2, when you put a Zerg up against a wall, they do crazy things, and by crazy things, I mean in-base hatcheries and 3-hatch Hydra. But this game, we're going to see a nice little overpool coming out here from Max. AgGe looks like he'll probably be getting the Forge right after this. So, one of the easy ways to tell whether or not a Protoss is going for Forge or for Gateway is probe. If it leaves after the 8 pylon, then it's probably most likely Forge Fast Expand. FFE, not to be confused with an FFT, Fourier Fast Transform. I don't know why I brought that up, but you know, just to let you know. So we will see that Forge Fast Expand coming down here. We do have the probe over here. Autobahn's a really short map, really quick rush distance. The probe coming out at 8 is going to be able to put down that blocking pylon and say, hey there, Max. Let me put you in maximum discomfort as you have to put a hatchery in a weird place that you weren't expecting. And that Zerg is currently building a move icon. But Max has studied this map at least, or has watched enough of the ASL to be able to say, okay, I know where the other expansions for Zerg are, so I'm going to go for the 12 o'clock expansion up here. There's also this one down here, but this is a little kind of opens up into the middle of the map. You don't really want to do that. Not against Protoss. So Photon Cannon does come down, so does the Nexus. Pretty much reading an overpool, you say, alright, I need to put down a 14 cannon, 14 Nexus, and you're pretty much good after that. Pylon does get knocked out there by the Zergling. I believe it was actually cancelled. I don't think that was fully built. And we're seeing 3 hatcheries and an extractor already coming down. So pretty much standard is as standard does for both these players. Now, second photon cannon didn't come down here, so it looks like AgGe is feeling pretty safe, especially with that. Okay, now it's finally coming down. Okay. After that forward pylon was kind of delaying those Zerglings for long enough. I don't think, actually, this is actually kind of scary. The Zergling could potentially just kind of slip on by here. There's a large hole here, and that cannon might be able to take out a couple of those Zergling, but not all of them. But the Overlord's really far away from this to know actually kind of what's going on here, and there's another Overlord coming in. This actually is probably going to be a 3-hatch Hydra again. Typical way to be able to normally guess that is if the Overlord is kind of poking in at the front, the Overlord stays right here, it's generally like a 3-hatch Hydra. But that's a lot of Zergling to walk on into the main base of AgGe, and AgGe is probably just like, oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. The gateway did finish up. There's a Zealot on the way, but it is a long, long, long time away. And that's going to be at least 1 dead pylon. That's not going to be able to supply block AgGe too much. But this is going to be a lot of dead probes. Those probes are just going to have to leave, and I think at this point, like, AgGe could just probably start taking down the Nexus. I think at this point, probably take down the Assimilator and the Nexus if you can. Fun fact about Zergling, even when they don't have the Crackling upgrade, they are pretty strong. Ooh, but a little bit over-focusing on the Nexus. Eesh, that was a little bit close. A little close. But the Zergling should be able to take out. Oh, really nice micro from there from Max. Ooh, I'm really impressed. Ooh, equal fancy micro coming out from both sides here. Those Zergling definitely could have done a lot more damage. The 5 Zergling could have immediately turned on the Zergling, on the on the Zealot as soon as it came out, but unfortunately, a little bit of delay there as it was kind of, they were targeting down that Nexus. That one little Zergling trying to get that last probe. But at this point, we do see what looks to be 3-hatch Hydra coming out yet again. Again, if you have that, well, okay, so it's kind of up here. Typically, if you have like an Overlord hiding out right here, it's generally 3-hatch Hydra. The question here is whether or not AgGe is going to be ready for that, though. AgGe is spending a lot of time macroing, trying to handle this Zergling. The Cyber Core is so incredibly late because of that. So AgGe is in a really awkward situation. If Max is on point with pretty much all of the macro that should be going on here, Max wasn't really delayed that much. These Hydras will be coming down pretty quickly. I think this should be the first batch of Hydras coming down now. They look like they're all kind of pulsing at the same time. Yep, that's going to be the first batch of Hydras. I think already Max is probably just going to be able to win this one. It's going to be really difficult for AgGe to be ready for it, and AgGe has no idea this is happening. Now, AgGe is building a pylon in the back of the base, but this probe really needs to be scouting. Like, doing all these cute things are great, but if you don't know what your Zerg opponent is up to, you are in a world of pain. And because this pylon back here is coming down and the probe is trying to be sneaky, AgGe is most likely going to be completely unaware as to Max's giant Hydra all-in. Now the probe is going to finally go and scout, but it's going to be a little bit too late. The pylon, those photon cannons need to be started way, way early ago. So, okay, there is another hatchery coming down here, so it looks like there's a little bit of a problem with macro. But in general, there's the Hydras going in there. They're going to be able to take down one of those photon cannons. A Dragoon comes out. Ooh, I don't know about that Dragoon right now. There's only a single Zealot left. It is going to go down. The only left unit is a Dragoon. It falls, and I think that's it. I think VT Max is going to be able to take the series 2-1 over iRk-AgGe. There's a couple more Zealots coming out here, but 2 Zealots against that many Hydras and more Hydras on the way. Not looking great. Bunch of probes going to come in here, going to try and just see what salvage could be done here, but I think at this point VT Max has done it. 30 to 48 in the supply count in favor of Zerg. This stage of the game not looking great. AgGe is going to go down to Max. In this, our first casting of CPL. Tier 2 game, remember? So we're going to be covering another set of Tier 2 games, and then we've got 3 sets of Tier 1 games, including my favorite, TL Flash Portal win. And there's the GG. That is going to be game number 3, going on over to VT Max to take the series. Alright. Alright.